Game of Thrones, a brilliant show created by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss for HBO, and it's an adaptation of A Song of Fire and Ice by George R. R. Martin. Now, I'm up to season 4. I'm quite late to the party in watching this show. I've always wanted to watch it. Just been watching other things, and then I've got round to start watching it. As I'm up to season 4, I haven't got season 5 yet, so I thought this would be a good time to do a little review and look at some merchandise that I've collected, because I bought these items before obviously watching it, and then I like to have merchandise of shows I like, so sort of buying it before I've watched it. But from what I've heard, I knew I'd enjoy it, and it hasn't failed on that score. I know there's a lot of negative press about season 8, but I'll probably do a review after I've watched the rest of the seasons and give my thoughts and comments on that. But so far I'm really enjoying it, and reminds me a little bit of The Tudors, which I watched. Obviously that's based on real life, whereas obviously Game of Thrones is more fantasy. Although I found out Natia Dormier, who's in Game of Thrones, she was in Tudors. I think that's where I first saw her. Played Anne Boleyn, if I remember correctly. Yes, I'm really enjoying it, and there's a few characters I really liked. I always liked Ned Stark from the beginning, and Robert Baratheon. And I will just warn you that there may be a few spoilers, of course, because I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And obviously when I first watched it, I didn't know what winter is coming meant. I didn't know about All Men Must Serve, and I didn't know that guy was in the middle either, but now I do know who he is. And we'll get on to him in a minute. So, yeah, there's sort of characters can be grouped into, different categories, really. I'd say Lord Baelish is always up to something. There's a lot of sort of a mysterious persona about him, and that he's one of those guys that he's always just sort of looking out for himself, although it might look like he's helping others. There's sort of always an ulterior motive there, I think, but we'll see what happens. There's also Jaime Lannister. He's an interesting character as well, and you see a lot of him develop throughout the seasons, and the different situations he comes into. And Tywin, who is that figure in the middle. Again, I think sometimes he's always, sort of also a bit like Lord Baelish. He's always sort of tried to turn things so it's in his favour, but maybe that was just sort of the sort of time and the setting it's in, that's the kind of characters that they wanted to be, sort of thing. And there's a few you want to see them get their comeuppance, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. There's also some you want them to get happiness, such as Sansa Stark, and a few that you're sort of glad when they die, such as King Joffrey. So, brilliant actor, but I was glad when his character was gone. Okay, and yeah, I mean, that's just naming a few. Okay, so let's look at some of the merchandise. So this in the middle is Tywin Lannister, and he's played by Charles Dance. And on the back of the box, it does come in a really big box. You can see that there, and I got it for a bargain price of £2.50 from the works. On the back it's got a little bit about him, so again spoilers because it leads up to sort of season 4 what's happened. It says Tywin serves as Hand of the King to his grandson Tommen, a position he held for the now deceased Joffrey and the Mad King Aerys Targaryen. Tywin's grown children remain in awe of him and defer to his counsel. He is believed to be the kingdom's true ruler. and that's him in the middle there. The figure doesn't have any articulation, but it's very detailed. Got a little stand that he's on. He's got his pin badge. So it's a very nice figure. Okay, and then the next one is this wine glass. It says, "I drink and I know things," which of course, before I watched the series I didn't know what that meant, but it's a phrase often said by Tyrion Lannister, who is one of Tywin's children. And there you go, there is the glass. I've just got in gold writing, "I drink and I know things." Okay, then we have this heat change mug, which when you put hot liquid in it changes to the map of sort of, not all the places, but a lot of the places that feature in the Game of Thrones universe. And talking about the map, the startup to Game of Thrones I think is really nicely detailed, how they go through all the different places that feature in the show and change from season to season. I think that's really well done and animated, however they do it, CGI. And it says on it, "All men must die, Valar Morghulis," which is, that is High Valyrian for "all men must die," which is a language you will see throughout the show, or hear even. And on the other side it said, "all men must serve Valar Dohaeris." I don't know if I said that right or not. So when you put hot water in it, it changes. Valar Morghulis is something that Arya Stark says quite a lot in the show. And on the side of the cups has a picture on the actual box of the Iron Throne, if you can make that out there. Just sort of what they're all competing for in the end. Now winter is coming, which is the house motto of House Stark. The Stark family, Ned Stark, Arya Stark, Sansa Stark, Robb Stark, Catelyn Stark. This is very cool because not only got the winter is coming phrase on it and the Stark insignia, also looks like it's got ice in it because you can chill it down, which is nice. Imagine sitting in the pub with that, or in your garden, a nice cold cider in it or something. It's very effective. And I have something I got more recently, and that is some stamps from the Royal Mail, which they issue these stamps every now and then. Presentation packs on films, TV programmes and various themes. Now there's two parts to the stamps, so we'll do the first part first. I'm not going to read the character profiles on the back because I made a mistake of doing that and it gives a few spoilers away, so I'm not going to do that yet. So starting in the top left we have Sansa Stark, then we have Jon Snow, not the newsreader, and then we have Eddard Stark. See the camera trying to pick up the faces there. And then we have Olenna Tyrell, played by Dame Dinah Rigg, and then of course we have Tywin Lannister, who's the figure there. Then down the bottom we have Tyrion Lannister. Oh, and I've just noticed this. That stamp is taken from, in the background, the Battle of Blackwater, which was season 2 or 3. I think it was 2, with the explosion that he creates, the wildfire. So I was trying to think of the name. Such a great episode that was. And then we have Cersei Lannister. We have Arya Stark with her sword that she calls Needle. And then we have Jaime Lannister. And then we have Daenerys Targaryen, known as the Mother of Dragons, and you see one of her dragons in the background. And then the second part to it is this bit, which has the Night King and the White Walkers, just there. And then you've got the Dire Wolves, and then you've got the actual Iron Throne. And then you get the Giants, which feature in one of the other later battles. I can't remember their names. And then down the bottom you've got the dragons, of course. So that's a nice presentation pack of stamps. So that's just a little bit about what I think about the show so far, and so I'll probably do a review after season 8, or maybe I'll do one after season 5, because I can tell that things are going to be coming together, and there's a lot going on, so that's not as well as the main arcs, but also the various side arcs as well. So let me know what you think of Game of Thrones and the seasons that you're watching or have watched, and who your favourite characters are. And like I say, I'll do another review soon. And just remember though, winter is coming.